Welcome to my live teaching learning session of BECS 184 Data Analysis. Today is your second session of this paper, Data Analysis. In first session, we have discussed about what is data analysis and what is the process of data analysis while we studying about this paper. Then what is the process? How we can collect data? How we can classify it? What is the meaning of variables which we use in data analysis for analyzing the data, and we have studied about quantitative and qualitative variables. What is the meaning of quantitative variable, qualitative variable, dependent variable, independent variable, continuous variable, and discrete variable? These are the various types of variable. Today, we will discuss about the branches of statistics because data or statistics are similar. We can say that if we want to do any type of research, either it may be exploratory or historical or applied research or basic research or historical and ex post facto research, any type of research, if we want to do, then we need first of all to collect data, and after that we have to analyze that data for interpreting and concluding the result, because without analyzing the data we don't have any use of collecting the data. If we want to analyze the data, then first of all we should collect the data which is related to our research purpose or our topic or our area, and then we have to analyze it, and then we can interpret and conclude or find out the result from our study. So the branches of, first of all you need the definition. You must know about the what is the meaning of statistics. Then the branches of statistics. The branches of statistics are two. One is descriptive and other is inferential. There are two types of branches of data analysis. There are two types of branches of statistics or in studying of data analysis. One is descriptive and other is inferential statistics. So we will discuss about all these things in today's session. So let us start from this topic, descriptive statistics, and what is the meaning of statistics. Statistics is the science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting data in order to make a decision. So, statistics means if we can quantify or if we can measure anything in numbers or in accurate digits, that is called statistics or data. So, statistics is a science in which we can find out the data collection method, how we can collect data. After collecting the data, we can collect data with the help of two sources. You have studied in last session, primary source and secondary source of data. Data collection has two main methods. One is primary and other is secondary. Primary source is that source in which investigator or researcher individually collect the data himself or herself. That type of data is called original data, and that primary data is related to their research purpose. So primary data is very useful and very important thing, because primary data you can easily use and you can easily collect for your purpose. And this type of data is more original, and but this type of data is more expensive, costly, and time taking also. But if you want to collect data purely or originally, which is not biased or affected by other things, then you must collect data himself or herself in a primary way. And second type of data uh, from which we can collect data, that is the method of secondary data. Secondary data is that data which is already collected by any other government institution or any other international institutions or organizations. And if the data keep in book, in article or in journals or in newspaper, that type of data if we use for our purpose, that is called secondary data. Secondary data we can use uh, in our research, but we have to modify it. We can't use uh, in a same manner in which that data is collected. So secondary data is that data which is less original than primary data and less costly, less expensive, less time taking, and use in broader or in wider area. So some researchers use secondary data for their research purpose, and some researcher use primary data for their research purpose. So statistics is generally a science of collecting, organizing, analyzing, and interpreting. Interpreting means concluding, find out the result. After analyzing the data, we can interpret and we can find out the result from the above analysis in order to make a decision. And what are the branches of statistics? The study of statistics has two major branches. One is descriptive. Descriptive is also known as exploratory, in which we can describe in each and everything in words. Either it may be we have given statistics or data, we can elaborate it, we can describe it in words, and other branches inferential statistics. So there are two types of branches of statistics. One is descriptive and other is inferential statistics. Now first branch is descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics is the branch of statistics that involves the organization of data and summarization of data. It means in descriptive statistics, the main two process we have to follow. One is organization of data and second is summarization of data. In organization of data, we will collect data either in a primary source or from secondary source, and then we can organize it or classify it, or we can present it with the help of bar diagram or a multiple bar diagram and histogram, polygon, and other types of diagrams, pie chart, we can show it. That is called presentation of data. And classification of data means when we classify the data or collected data, because when we collect the data, that is not arranged data, that is called raw data, which is not arranged in a systematic manner. So raw data is that data which is uh, not in a systematic way or not in a definite or in a sequence way. So if we want to analyze that data, first of all, we have to organize it. We have to arrange it. We have to put in a sequence or in a correct manner so that we can interpret it or we can analyze it easily. So that is called classify or classification. Classification means to separate the data in a different groups, similar features data in a one group and non-similar data you can put in other group. When you keep data, when you separate the data with their qualities or with their similarities or dissimilarities on the basis of this, that is called classification of data. So, first of all, in a descriptive statistics, we will use this process organizing the data, and after that, summarization of data. And next is inferential statistics. This inferential statistics is the next branch of statistics that involves using a sample to draw conclusion about population. Here population means not overall population of the country or world. Here population means census. Population means the whole data which you are using in your research. So population means whole, aggregate, or total, all numbers of data which you are using in your study. So inferential statistics is the branch of statistics that involves using a sample to draw conclusion or results about population. A basic tool is the in the study of inferential statistics is probability. Probability means expected outcome, or what we expect, not sure. Probability or possibility. If we say that it may rain today, there is a possibility, there is a probability, not accurately. It may be rain today or may not be. So, probability shows that what outcome will come or not. Either it may be come or not come. So, in this course, you will study about the sample of total population from which we can conclude. So, inferential statistics is related with drawing conclusion from the whole population. So, these are the two branches of statistics. Next is branches of statistics. We can show with the help of this chart. There are two types of branches of statistics. One is descriptive and other is inferential. In descriptive statistics, it involves the organization of data and summarization and display of data. So there are two things which we include in descriptive statistics, that is organization of data and summarization of data. And inferential statistics involves using a sample to draw conclusion about a population. If we draw conclusion from the whole population, that is called inferential statistics. Next is types of statistics. If we ask from you that what are the various types of statistics, so statistics is the branch of mathematics that transforms data into useful information for decision makers. And there are two types of statistics, that is descriptive and inferential. In descriptive, we have to follow these process. Number one is collection of data. Either it may be we can collect from primary source or from secondary source. After that, we can organize it, organization of data, in which we can classify it and present it with the help of different diagrams, and then we can analyze it and summarize it. So, collecting, organizing, summarizing, and describing data, all things are included in descriptive statistics. And in inferential statistics, drawing conclusion or making decisions concerning a population based only on sample data. Next is descriptive statistics can be defined or can be used to describe the basic features of the data in a study. It provides simple summary about the sample and the measures which we use to analyze the data. Descriptive statistics are typically different from or distinguished from inferential statistics. With descriptive statistics, we can simply describe it what is or what the data shows. But in inferential statistics, we are trying to reach conclusion that extend beyond the immediate data alone. So this is the meaning of descriptive statistics. Next is, what is the difference between inferential statistics and descriptive statistics? The main difference is the main difference of descriptive statistics and inferential statistics is, first of all, the main point is the utilization of descriptive statistics. Researchers has total crude population data. But in inferential statistics, the vast majority of the researchers take the help of inferential statistics with the crude population data or whole population or whole data is in huge amount and can't be assembled or gathered. Next, descriptive statistics point is the utilization of descriptive statistics is when inspecting is not required. If you have not any required inspection of the data, then you can only collect it, you can only classify it, and you can only summarize it. So, collection of data, organization of data, and summarization of data, these things are included in descriptive statistics. But if testing required, if inspection is required, then you must need to collect inferential, you must need to use inferential statistics. Next point is properties of the crude population are mean, median, and mode are known as descriptive statistics parameters. We use to analyze the data different statistical tools. And the tools of these statistics are like measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, correlation, regression, skewness, kurtosis, etc. These are the statistical tools from which we can analyze the collected data. After analyzing it, we can interpret it or we can draw conclusion. While we draw conclusion, that is included in inferential statistics. That is the part of inferential statistics. So properties of descriptive statistics are like for analyzing the data, we can use mean, median, mode. These are measures of central tendency as descriptive statistics parameters. And properties of inferential statistics are not named as boundaries, fairly pronounced as statistics. Next point is this kind of statistics has certain constraints. One can possibly apply this while having really estimated data. While we collect mean, median, or mode, after collecting the result, we can uh, really estimate it. We can use this data for a research purpose, and inferential statistics tends to be applied to a huge population of data when the example data is a delegate of the population. So descriptive statistics is a type of statistics which quite often 100% precise as there are no suspicions being made for the crude population, whereas inferential statistics depends on the theories or conclusion dependent on samples which we draw from whole population. So that is the reason one can't locate 100% precision in inferential statistics. So this is the basic difference between descriptive statistics and inferential statistics. Descriptive statistics mainly tells us how to collect data and how we can organize it and how we can summarize it with the help of the available data. But inferential statistics tells us how we can draw conclusion from the whole population. Both are very important and both are very necessary while we studying about data analysis, because descriptive statistics and inferential statistics both are the both are the branches of statistics which we use for analyzing the data. So this is the basic difference. Next is measures of central tendency. These all included in descriptive statistics. Now here we are discussing about descriptive statistics, and all these things like measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, skewness, kurtosis, all things are the part of descriptive statistics. So in statistics, a central tendency is a central value or a typical value for a probability distribution. It is occasionally called an average. Average means mean. Average is a not an accurate number. Average means it means something can be increased or decreased not in a accurate or in a proper numbers. Like if we say that if a river depth is average 6 feet, it's an average, not accurate. Maybe river depth may be higher than 6 feet in center or in middle, and at last it may be less than 6 feet, and in the beginning it may be less than 6 feet. But in an aggregate, if we say that the depth of the river is 6 feet, that is called average. Average gives you not any accurate answer, but the data from which we collect average, that all are included in the calculation of average. And average is based on all the observations, all the data which we collected. So average is not accurate or not definite thing. Average means something is nearby of the collected observations. So it is occasionally called an average or just the center location, center of the distribution. The most common measure of central tendency are mean. Mean is known as average or known as arithmetic mean. Mean may be so many types like geometric mean, harmonic mean, arithmetic mean. There are three various types of mean, that is arithmetic mean, which is known as simple mean or average. Second is geometric mean, and third is harmonic mean. These are the three types of mean. Next is median. Median is the center value of the all collected data. Median is defined as mid value of collected data. And next is mode. Mode means the larger frequency of any data is called the data which comes repeatedly or largely, that is called mode. So these three are the main methods of central tendency or measures of central tendency. One is mean, other is median, and third is mode. Mean, median, mode. Measures of central tendency are defined for a population large set of observations of a similar nature and a sample portion of the observation of a population. So these are the measures of central tendency. And measures of central tendency, we can define it. It's a central value or it's a typical value for a probability distribution, or it is called an average, or just the center location and center of the distribution. Next is, now introduction of this measure of center tendency are statistical measures which describe the position of a distribution. If we want to know about the position of the distribution, then we must have to study about measures of center tendency, in which we can study mean, median, and mode. They are also called statistics of location and are the complement of statistics of dispersion or measures of dispersion, which provide information concerning the variance or distribution of observations. In the univariate context may be univariate, bivariate, and multivariate. If you have only one variable, that is called univariate. If you have two variables, if you are studying about two variables, that is called bivariate. And if you are studying about different variables, then it is called multivariate. So variable may be in your study, it may be one variable, it may be based on two variables, or it may be based on more than two variables. If your study is based on one variable, that is called univariate. And if you are studying about two variables, like one is dependent, other is independent, one is continuous, other is discrete. If you are studying about two variables, that is called bivariate context. And if you are studying about more than two variables, then it will be called multivariate context. So now we are discussing about in a univariate context, if only one variable is given, the mean, median, and mode are the most commonly used measures of central tendency. So where we can use mean, median, mode? If there is a univariate context. If only one variable is given, like x is given. If x and y both are given, that is called bivariate. If x, y, and z, all three more than two variables are given, that is called multivariate. So in a univariate context, the mean, median, and mode are the most commonly used measures of central tendency. Computable values on a distribution that discuss the behavior of the center of a distribution. Next is, center tendency has three measures. One is mean, second is median, third is mode. How we can calculate mean? Mean, we can, first of all, mean, we can express it with the help of this x bar. It can be pronounced as x bar. Here, x bar is called mean or average or arithmetic mean, which is equals to, this is called sigma. Sigma means summation or sum of. X is, here x means the all numbers, all observations, which we have collected, all the data which we collected, either it may be primary source or from secondary source. If we add all these given values, then we can get sigma x or summation of all the observations. And if it is divided by n, what is n? N represents the number of scores. The number of scores means the total numbers. If we have given 10 numbers and the different numbers are like 2, 4, 8, 5, 9, 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, just like this. If we add all these numbers, that is called sigma x. And if we divided it by 10, because numbers are in total 10, then we can calculate mean. So mean formula is x bar is equals to sigma x divided by n. And this is sigma, or you can say that summation of all observation sigma x or summation of all observation, all are same. Both are same thing. And divided by n, n is numbers. Number of scores, number of total data which we have given already. And next is median. How we can calculate median? Median is generally called middlemost numbers or mid value of the all observations. In data, either it may be data may be in odd numbers or in even numbers. If we have collected data near about 19 or 9, this is called odd data. 9 number is odd, 19 is odd, 29 number is odd. We can, when we arrange it in ascending order, then in the beginning, data will increasing smaller to in larger. Then we can easily find out the mid value of the odd number data. But if numbers are given in even numbers, then we have to collect data in by using the formula like n plus 1 by 2. If number is 10, then 10 plus 1 by 2. 11 by 2, that is 5.5. 5.5 means the fifth number data plus sixth number data. Again, we add both numbers data fifth plus sixth divided by 2. Then we can calculate median. So median is the middlemost number. And mode is most frequently occurring number. Median is middlemost number and mode is most frequent occurring number, the number which repeatedly come, that is called mode. Next, how we can calculate mean? In this, mean is called average. To find out mean, first of all, you add up all the numbers and then divide by the total numbers. To find the mean for this set of number, if you have given the numbers, set of numbers are 13, 18, 13, 14, 13, 16, 14, 21, 13. It means total numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Total numbers are 9. But if we want to, first of all, x bar is how x bar or mean is calculated. Mean is calculated by using the formula of sigma x upon n. So sigma x is the summation of all observation, like 13 plus 18 plus 13 plus 14 plus 13 plus 16 plus so on 14 plus 21 plus 13 and divided by n. Here total numbers are 9. So we can calculate mean. Here the value of mean or answer of mean is 15. So mean is the average or mean is the aggregate value of all the observations which we have already given. Next is median. Median is the middle value in the list of numbers. To find the median, your numbers have to be listed in numerical orders or in ascending orders or in descending orders. Orders may be in ascending or in descending, but firstly you have to arrange the given data in any way. Either it may be ascending from smaller to larger or it may be descending from larger to smaller, but you must have to arrange the data while calculating median. Without arranging the data in a univariate context or in a single variable context, you can't calculate median. For example, if an odd number of values are given 1, 5, 2, 8, 7. So first of all we will arrange it like 1 smaller is 1, after that 2, after that 5, after that 7, then 8. Here the number is in odd form. So five numbers are given. We can take two numbers in a left hand side and two numbers in a right hand side, and the middle value is 5, that is median. And if numbers are given in even numbers, so in even numbers like 1, 5, 2, 10, 8, 7, here 6 numbers are given. So first of all, we will arrange it like 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 10. Here we can divide it. If we divide 3 numbers in left hand side and 3 numbers in right hand side, then what is the median? We can't find out the median. So median is the middle value. So here median or middle value is 2. One is 5, other is 7. So we have to add both the numbers 5 plus 7, then again divided by 2. So 5 plus 7 is 12 and 12 is divided by 2 is 6. So median is 6. So in this way we can calculate median. And third measure of center tendency is mode. Mode is the value that occurs most often or in a frequent numbers. If no numbers is repeated, then there is no mode for the list. In this question, here the numbers are given like 13, 18, 13, 14, 13, 16, 14, 21, 13. Now, in this sample or in this collected data, here we are watching that 13 numbers occurring repeatedly in a 4 times. 13 comes 4 times, 14 comes 2 times, 16 comes 1 time, 18 comes 1 time, and 21 is also 1 time. So larger frequent number which occur repeatedly, that is 13. So mode is 13. So we easily calculate mode by see the given numbers, which number is repeatedly occurring or coming in a series, that is mode. So this is the three measures of center tendency. One is mean, second is median, and third is mode. Now next is, which is the best average to use? In measures of center tendency, you have studied about three measures. One is mean, other is median, and third is mode. Now what is the best average, or which is the best average to use? Sometimes the mean is the best example or test result. Sometimes the mode is the best result, and sometimes median gives us best result. For example, some mean is the best example of test results. If we want to find out the average marks of the class student, then we use this average or mean. And mode is the best example while using stock control, and median is the best example of house prices. So what are the disadvantages and advantages of these three statistical averages in which we have studied about mean, median, and mode? Mean is very useful, and mean is generally used by all, because mean tells us the average or aggregate value of the data, and mean is based on all the observations or all the collected data. So this is the main uh, advantage of mean, because it is based on all observations. Median is not based on all observation, because median tells us only the mid value of the collected data, and mode is only that value which occurring repeatedly or many times, which is coming in a series, that is called mode. So mode represent an actual value, but mode we can easily calculate. Mode can be easily calculate. Median often represent an actual value, but not affected by extreme value, because in this median we distribute the frequency distribution in an ascending order or in a descending order, and we can distribute it in a two way. In a first, in a right hand side and left hand side, we keep the remaining data and only take the mid value of the given data value, and central value is called median. So all the other data or all the other observations we can't use in median. So advantages of mean median mode is mean is widely used, and mean is based on all observation. Mode is represent an actual value and very easily uh, calculated, or we can express it with the help of diagram. Median is also very easily calculated and value, and it shows the actual value but not affected, and it is not affected by extreme values. But the disadvantages of mean is may not correspond to an actual value. Mean mean will not show an actual value, because average don't tell us the actual value of the given data. It's an average. Maybe the value actual value may be higher or actual value may be lower. Average don't tell us the actual value of the result. So it is affected by extreme values. And the disadvantages of mode is does not take account of all values, because in this we take only that value which is repeatedly occurring or coming. Other values we don't use it. And there may be no mode or many modes. Modes may be unimodal. Unimodal means one peak of a diagram. If there is only one peak in a diagram, that is unimodal diagram. If there is a two peak in a diagram, that is bimodal diagram. And if there is a multiple peak in a diagram, that is called multimodal diagram. So mode can be expressed in diagram with the help of this diagram: unimodal, bimodal, and multimodal. And to see that diagram, we can easily say that what type of mode is present in this diagram. But if there may be no mode or many modes, then how can you estimate it? And median, the disadvantages of median is not widely used, because median is showing only the mid value or center value uh, of the given data. It's an actual value but not affected by extreme values and not representative of a small group. So this is the uh, criteria from which we can say that which is the best average we use. Next is measures of dispersion. Here, measures of dispersion is another way of descriptive statistics in which variance, range, standard deviation, coefficient of variation we can study. Now, what is the meaning of this dispersion? Dispersion means scatteredness. Dispersion shows the scattered, how much scattered data is available. What is the variance or what is the differences in collected data. So variance generally tells us how much vary your result from collected data. Result may be more too much vary, or result may be less variation. If there is a less variation, then result may be more consistency, more accuracy. If your results are have more variance, more distance, more differences, that will be called larger variance. Larger variance show less consistency, less accuracy in results. Range tells us the how much the difference between the larger value of the data and the smaller value of the data. Range can be calculated by taking the difference in between of largest value minus smallest value, or highest value minus smallest value. Standard deviation is a very good way, and it is based on average, it is based on mean. So, standard deviation is much better than mean deviation or average deviation, and standard deviation is the under root of all the observation summations. In this standard deviation, we can calculate the standard deviation with the help of under root sigma fx square upon n. And the coefficient of variation depends upon standard deviation and mean. Coefficient of variation can be calculated by using the formula of standard deviation divided by x bar multiplying by 100. Then we can calculate coefficient of variation. So distance from center tells us this measures of dispersion. Next is measures of dispersion is the another analytical method to study data. Our main use of dispersion is to compare the amount of spread in two or more data set. A common technique in inferential statistics is to draw conclusion or draw comparison between population by analyzing samples that come from those populations. Two of the most common measures of dispersions are range and standard deviation. What is range? Range is any set of data. For any set of data, range is the given. Range can be calculated by using this formula. This formula is greatest value in set minus smallest or least value in set. So range tells us how much differences uh, in collecting data exist. For example, if we want to collect coefficient of range, then we will use this formula L minus S upon L plus S. L is largest minus smallest upon largest plus smallest. L is largest item and S is smallest item. Very simple formula we can use for calculating the coefficient of range, because range is L minus S only. And the coefficient of range is L minus S upon L plus S. And the coefficient of quartile deviation, we can calculate it with the help of this formula. Q3 is quartile 3 minus quartile 1 upon quartile 3 plus quartile 1. Here Q1 is first quartile and Q3 is third quartile. Coefficient of mean deviation can be estimated with the help of this formula, mean deviation divided by mean or median. Because the deviation is differences. Differences can be estimated with the help of mean or with the help of median. If we calculate deviation with the help of mean, then we will take mean deviation divided by mean to calculate coefficient of mean deviation. But if we have estimated deviations, if we have taken deviations from median, then we will use this formula mean deviation divided by median for calculating coefficient of mean deviation. Coefficient of standard deviation is equals to standard deviation divided by x bar. Coefficient of variation is equals to standard deviation upon mean or x bar into 100. Here this sigma, this sign is sigma, sigma is called standard deviation and x bar is arithmetic mean. Now how we can calculate range? Very simple. If we have given data like 5, 14, 29, 34, 59, 68, find the smallest number. To see this data, you can find out the smaller value. Here smaller value is 5 and the larger value 68, and the difference in between of 68 and 5 is called range. Here 63 is the range. And if you want to calculate range and coefficient of range, then if you have given the data 63, 68, 79, 89, 98, 108, 117, 127, 25, then largest value is 125 and the smallest value is 63. So the difference is range at 125 minus 63 is equals to 62, that is range, and coefficient of range is L minus S upon L plus S, means 125 minus 63 upon 125 plus 63. Then you can estimate this range, coefficient of range is 0.33. So it's a very easy method while we want to find out how much data is scattered or how much data is variable or vary from other data. We can use this first method, range. Next is quartile. How you can calculate quartile deviation? If class interval is given like 10 to 15, 15 to 20, frequency is given, then first of all we will calculate cumulative frequency. Cumulative frequency is the summation of frequency, like frequency 6 in the beginning. First of all, we will write only 6, then 6 plus 10, 16, 16 plus 15, 31, 31 plus 22, 53, then plus 12, 65, plus 9, 74, plus 4, 78, plus 2, 80. So cumulative frequency we can easily calculate it by adding by one all the frequencies. Then quartile 1 is, first of all, quartile means if we divide series in a four parts, that is called quartile. Quartile divide the whole series in a four parts. Median divide the series in a two parts. Decile divide the series in a 10 parts. Percentile divide the series in 100 parts. So if we divide the series in a different parts, we can express it in by different using names like quartile 1, quartile 3, and decile, percentile, median. So quartile 1 is the simple division of any series in a four parts. So Q1 is equals to n by 4. N is total numbers. Total numbers are 80. The summation of total numbers or the last number of cumulative frequency is 80. 80 divided by 4 is 20. And Q3 we can calculate by using 3n by 4. 3n by 4 is, it means 3 into 80 divided by 4. So it will be 80 into 3, 240. 240 divided by 4 is 60. Now quartile 1 can be estimated by using another formula, L1 plus n by 4 minus Cf upon f into I or interval. L1 is the lower limit of the class interval. Now first of all we will see that here where is Q1 lie, 20. 20 values lie in 31 because cumulative frequency in 6 doesn't lie, 16, 20 doesn't lie, but in 31, 20 lie. So here the class interval in front of this cumulative frequency number 31 is 20 to 25. So the lower value of class interval is 20. So we will take L1 is 20, n by 4 is again 80 by 4 is 20, minus Cf means the value lies in between of 31. So the above value of cumulative frequency is 16, that is called Cf 16, and the frequency value is in front of 31, in front of that here frequency value is 15, so we will take that 15. So I is the class interval difference which is 5. We can estimate it by using this calculation. That value is Q1 value is 21.56. Same as we can estimate it Q3, same as Q2. Q2 is median. Median can be calculated by using n by 2 formula because median divided the whole series in a two parts. Quartile divide the whole series in a four parts. So Q3 is can be calculated by L1 plus 3n by 4 minus Cf upon f into I, and Q2 can be estimated by, first of all we will do n by 2. N by 2 means 80 divided by 2 is 40, and 40 lies in cumulative frequency in which number 53, and the in front of that class interval is 25 to 30. So 25 is L1, n by 2 is 40, Cf is 31, and f is 12, 22, f is 22, and I is 5. The difference between class interval is I. So we can estimate all these values from this formula. Next is standard deviation. Standard deviation is also calculated by using mean or average. In this question, class interval is given, mid value is mid value. First of all, we can calculate it like for 0 to 10, mid value can be estimated by using the lower limit of the class interval plus upper limit of the class interval divided by 2. So mid value is here 0 plus 10 divided by 2 is 5. 10 plus 20 divided by 2 is 15. 20 plus 30 divided by 2 is 25. So mid value is 0 to 10 in between of this 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65. Frequency we have already given. First of all, we will estimate deviation from the assumed mean. We can take the value of assumed mean, like mid value in between of this. Here we can assume the mid value is 35. This 35 is called assumed mean. And if we take deviation from this assumed mean, it means if the all mid value is subtracted from 35, like 5 subtracted from 35 is minus 30, 15 minus 35 is minus 20, 25 minus 35 is minus 10, then 35 minus 35 is 0, then plus 10, 20, and 30. So if we multiply f into di, that is 3 into minus 30 is minus 90, 5 into minus 20 is minus 100. This is fi di or fd. And then fd square is fi di into di. Here 90 we will not square it. We will multiply fi di into di, means minus 90 multiplied by minus 30 is equals to 2700. Minus 100 into minus 20 is equals to 2000. And after that we will take the sum up of all these values, and then we can use this sum up in this formula. This standard deviation can be calculated by using this formula: under root sigma fd square upon n minus sigma fd upon n whole square of this. Here the under root of this fd square is 13900 divided by total numbers are 65 minus fd fidi is 30 upon 65 whole square of this. Here the answer is 14.62. This is called standard deviation. Next is variance. Variance is the square of the standard deviation. In short, having obtained the value of the standard deviation, you can already determine the value of the variance. So variance is the square of standard deviation. In standard deviation, we have estimated like 14.62 value, and if we take whole square of this 14.62, that is called variance. Variance actually tells us the variation or differences among the given series. So this is the basic difference. Here the difference in between of variance and standard deviation is variance is the measure of the average of squared values of the data set from average points to the mean, and standard deviation is the statistic that measures the dispersion of the data set relative to its mean, and it's calculated by the square root of the variance. Variance is the average of the squared deviation, and standard deviation is the square of the mean square deviation. It is expressed in square unit, and standard deviation is expressed as the same unit of the data set. It is denoted by sigma square, and standard deviation is denoted by sigma. So in this data analysis second session, you have studied about descriptive statistics, in which you have to organize the data and summarize the data. Here we have discussed about how we can analyze the data with the help of these measures of central tendency and measures of dispersion, which have different tools from which we can use the data, and we can interpret it or we can conclude it. Remaining portion of this data analysis topic we will discuss in third session. Till then, thank you.